Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Join Terry with Tracer Rounds every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern to hear interviews with veteran artists, veteran business owners, and businesses that support veterans. Catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and MB Radio. If you miss a show, you can listen again on Wreaths Across America Radio every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to see if you are on target. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
And welcome back to the Tracer Rounds podcast. And I'm your host, Terry. And with me tonight is Jack Blaise. And he is an artist extraordinaire. I think you have you call yourself, what is the type of music you do? You call it I'm just
Muddy Moonshine Americana.
That's right, Muddy Moonshine Americana. I was like, I know there's a crazy term that I'm forgetting that you classify your music as. So, we're going to get into everything, but I want to say the first thing I heard you sing was When Doves Cry, and I was like, wow. Like, I have never thought of singing that song that way or hearing it that way or really kind of putting that type of mood on it. I was like, that's super awesome. And the way you did that, I was like, that's very creative on how you kind of changed that up. And why would you have chosen that song? I'm just curious.
Well, first off, thank you very much. I always like compliments on things. But originally, I remember when that song came out, I was little. I say little, probably 8 or 10 maybe, I don't know, but it was where I wasn't supposed to be listening to it. That's how little I was. But I just thought Prince was an amazing performer. That song just always spoke to me for some reason. I can't really explain it. But and I never really, I have no idea what he was trying to say with the song, but to me, it always kind of was like a ballad of loss, clearly, and to me, slowing that down and not making it so rocky, kind of really emphasized that more lost feeling, a little more country, sad blues kind of feel to it, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, because it has a whole other spin to it, the way you sing it, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it a lot. I'm sorry to dive right into that, but I just had to get to that. I
No
was so
problem.
taken with that song and your interpretation. I was like, man, I got to get that out there real quick. So welcome guests, and welcome to Jack, who is a Marine veteran and an Army veteran. So how old were you when you joined, and which one did you join first, and why?
That's the real question, right? Is why.
Right.
Um, well, I arrived at reception at Fort Sill, Oklahoma when I joined the Army on my 20th birthday.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, my father had been drafted to go to Vietnam, but ended up not going because of how late it was. It was in 71, I think, and he was married at the time.
Yeah.
And at that time, apparently, they were only sending volunteers if you were married. But anyway, so my dad was in the Army. My grandfather was in the Navy and was actually at the Battle of the Philippines and was blown up by a kamikaze and barely survived. So, you know, there was a very strong military tradition in my house because even though my dad was drafted, he did spend 8 years in. I was born in Germany. My brother was born in Italy. So I spent 3 years in the Army. When I enlisted, I wanted to do all that high speed stuff, you know. I'd read all the books about SEALs and Green Berets and all this stuff in in Vietnam, and I just thought that just sounded amazing. And
Yeah.
so I went into MEPS with my Ranger option, which was about the only thing you could get at that time that was offered. And I got to the color vision test, and they said, "You're colorblind." I was like, "Yeah, no shit, I know." And they're like, "Well, if you're colorblind, you can't do any of this stuff." So my job, because I'd done well on the ASVAB, so my jobs went from like all kinds of stuff to 3 jobs.
Oh wow.
And I still wanted to join though, and so they had a small arms specialist, which sounded cool. It sounded like maybe you were an armorer attached, but that wasn't what it was. It was a third shop, 9 to 5 basically job, which in a lot of ways was cool, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. And honestly, at the time, I should have just walked over to the Marine Corps recruiting office, but it didn't occur to me at that time because I just thought, I want to get out of here. I was not going anywhere in college and at home with the family and stuff. And actually, I was studying music in college. And I just
Study in college. Where did you study?
that at that time I was just at the community college down the street, San Jacinto Community College. Again, kind of because I was very non-committal about what was going on and what I should be doing, because all the things I was interested in, was very frowned upon in my family. There's no musicians, there's no writers, there's no all that creative stuff is, that's you're not ever going to make a living and all that. So it's very discouraged by all that. And, in studying music in school, honestly, kind of takes a lot of the joy out of it. Also,
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
So much work, so much work. It's funny, later on, I got a degree in physics. And I have to say that when I was a music major at junior college, it actually required more time and dedication than my physics degree. Because it was just, yeah.
Wow.
Well, first you have to take a whole bunch of classes that are only like 1 hour's credit. And so to get full time, you have to take a whole bunch of classes. And then they're all like you have your recitals and your, you have to, of course, you have to practice to prepare for all that and all that kind of stuff. And it was a real time suck. And like I said, it took a lot of the fun out of it. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. I do that a lot.
It's okay. We're interested, so go ahead.
Yeah. So then after my 3 years, I really didn't necessarily, I enjoyed a lot of things about the Army, but I really didn't enjoy what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so when I got home, because this was in 96 when I got out of the Army, and it was a real drawdown period. They were actually paying people to get out who couldn't get promoted, and the cutoff scores were the whole time I was in, I only saw one person make E5 in my MOS. So it was just, there wasn't a whole lot of hope for me going forward in that anyway.
Yeah.
And I'd gotten married, and I thought, this was the way to do it. So I got out looking for, to go back and do something else, and immediately started missing it, and joined the reserves actually. And God, I hated that more than anything else, because it's just, you go from even a POB, unit in active duty is still just so much more than the reserve. I mean, no offense to anybody that just did the reserve career, but I mean, you show up in the morning and yeah. But so tell me if I'm wrong here. You show up in the morning for drill. All the officers go to their meetings. All the NCOs go to their meetings, and the E4 and below are like, okay, go smoke cigarettes all day, kind of thing. And that just seemed like that was all we did every drill. Was sit around and smoke cigarettes and invent things to do.
Right.
It was, so anyway, I didn't stick with that very long, and my wife got pregnant. We didn't have insurance, and all these things were kind of pulling me back to go back in. And I was like, well, I am not going back to what I was doing before.
Yeah.
And I went and talked to the Marine Corps recruiter, and he's like, you want to be, O3? Sure. Sign right here, basically. And I was like, I'm kind of like, we don't care. You can walk, you can talk, you can pull the trigger, basically.
Right.
And so I did that in 98. March of 98 was when I went to boot camp. So, and that was how desperate I was to go back into the military and not do what I did before. Was I had to go back to boot camp again, number one.
Man.
And number two, they take 2 stripes, because Marines march around in circles way different than they do in the Army. I mean, it's just totally different. But
Goodness, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, you're really wanting to go back if you were willing to give up 2 stripes.
Yeah. And so that was kind of crazy. And then right before I graduated SOI, I just kind of said, what the hell am I doing? I have a kid on the way. Now is not the time to go into a, field unit where you're, and it became to where it just absolutely was not where I wanted to be anymore. And so I went and told them, I was like, "But you got to send me home. I'm not doing it anymore." And it's kind of interesting. I actually got an entry-level separation from the Marine Corps, even though I was prior service.
Oh.
And yeah, that's how the government works for you, right?
Yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah. But yeah, so it took me a long time to become okay with telling people about all that, kind of the little voice in the back of your head, oh, you quit, and all that kind of stuff. And especially, it was really hard for me because I signed up in 98. And so if I'd done my 4-year hitch, 2001 would have been all over the place and all over my career. But because I got out, that completely, I missed all of that. And it's, I feel blessed by that now, that I missed all that. But it really was a big guilt issue for me for a long time, where I wouldn't even admit that I'd been in the Marine Corps, because it was kind of a blow. But yeah, and honestly, getting into the fire department. So between the Marine Corps, after the Marine Corps, I kind of just bounced around for a while, and was actually working in the bar business, bartending, running nightclub kind of stuff, and which was so much more responsible than being a Marine. And but I ended up needing to get a real job for my daughter. She was to the point where she needed insurance and all these things, and I I still wanted to serve the community, especially, and so I got into the fire department in Houston and became a fireman paramedic. And in my training there, so many veterans become first responders.
Yeah, they do.
And so many of us veterans, we stuck together through the whole training and everything, basically, and had our own little group. and 90% of us were Marines. And just kind of the way we all interacted really made me feel a lot more comfortable with being honest about, where I had been and what I had done as far as the Marine Corps. And and their acceptance of me made me think, okay, well then I really am a Marine. I don't have to feel like that. So yeah, but so then to my services in the fire department. I was in the fire department from January 2004, and then I was forced to retire in May 2014. I had we still really don't know what happened, but I was getting ready to play an ice hockey game. I was on the fire department ice hockey team. That was fun, and in Houston of all places.
Right.
And for some reason, I just suddenly felt like I got hit in the back of the head with an axe, and I had just the worst headache I could believe. I thought I was, having a stroke or something. That's how bad I couldn't see. I couldn't hear really. And so from then until about 2020, I had a 10 out of 10 headache where a lot of times I couldn't really see, couldn't really hear.
Oh my goodness.
Just had severe pain, and that's what caused me to have to retire, and was basically laid up in bed with these headaches for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend at the time got a job in Colorado, and so we moved to Colorado, and it was the craziest thing to end up at a dentist who was the foremost TMJ specialist in the country. And she was like, has anyone ever told you your jaw is locked? And so it was 90% of it was a jaw issue. And so after working with her and getting my bite and everything corrected, my headaches went from 24/7 to I probably have 3 a week on a bad week now. Yeah. So it's a whole different level of life now for me. And so that is it's hard to be in a bad mood when you wake up with that every day. Yeah. And a big part of why I do music now, not to jump ahead of your question, I'm sure, is, when I was laying there on my back, I picked up my guitar because, like I said, I'd done music before,
Yeah.
but I hadn't played music in probably 10 years at that point. And I picked up my guitar and started playing and singing to myself. And it gave me something else to think about, something else to do and involve myself with. But something about just the vibration of me playing and singing just really helped. And so I would lay there on my back, stoned out of my gourd, and play music just all day, 24/7. I mean, that's probably why my girlfriend left me, is because it was too, finally like, okay, look, enough.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that was my therapy. That was my existence. Everything went into that. And so when I started getting better, I really wanted to honor that, and by putting that out there into the world and letting other people know that, I'm not guaranteeing it's going to help everybody, but if you're suffering, pick up an instrument. It may change your life. I mean, it really got me through, the hardest days.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I think music is very healing and cathartic. No matter what genre you listen to, whatever speaks to you is what you should be listening to, and it does heal you. I think. I think that just gets your mind to go in a whole other direction than focusing on the negative. It just has you envisioning these pictures that this music brings to you, I think. And speaking of music, it's time to take our first break. And you said you wanted to sing to us. What do you want to sing live for us?
I think the first thing I'll do is it's going to be my next single.
Okay.
It's almost finished. It's called "I Bow My Head," and the story behind it is not too long after I first started writing music, writing songs. Um, I heard this song on the radio, and I don't remember who it was by, or even I may have misheard the words, to be completely honest. But it was something about, um, rah rah, I can't wait to be buried in Arlington. And it just, it set me off so bad that I sat down and this song just poured out.
Wow.
It didn't take long at all for me to write it. So switch my mic real quick and I'll give you.
All right.
There we go. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Raised up under the stars and stripes, I got down on my knees each night. I heard the good news of the pledge each day. When 19 came, I went away. Became a cog in the green machine. Man, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen. So when that flag's raised and the anthem plays and the jets, they go thundering overhead. Keep your head held high so you don't wonder why. Bow my head so you don't see me cry. Now I'm haunted by some things I've done. In the name of the Father and the Son. Yellow ribbon heroes parade. But that's all fool's gold at the end of the day. Shiny enough to make you believe, but as cold as stone against a widow's grave. So when that flag is raised and the anthem plays and the jets, they go thundering overhead. Keep your heads held high so you don't wonder why. Bow my head so you don't see me cry. Yeah, keep paying your lip service. Don't look beneath the surface, 'cause that's where you might find how it feels coming home to a sack full of pills to try and numb your mind. Now here I sit in the land of the free, where my neighbors, they want to take from me. I gave so much, they still want more. But what the hell was it all for? So when that flag is raised and the anthem plays and the jets go thundering overhead, keep your heads held high so you don't wonder why. Bow my head so you don't see me cry. Yeah, bow my head so you can't see me cry.
That's really good. We didn't hear the guitar so much. I could only hear a
Okay.
little bit of it, but definitely heard you sing it, and I definitely love the song. So thank you for singing live to us. So when are you going to put out some new music, or when is that coming out? You said it in a few
Um,
weeks.
yeah, I'm putting the finishing touches on it right now, on the single. So yeah, it should be pretty quick, I hope.
Sounds good. I like the song a lot. I can't wait to hear it finished. So I'm looking forward to when that comes out. So you told me, and I didn't know, but you used to be on this platform. You used to be a host
I
in the
did.
morning on Fridays.
I did. Yeah. So when I was in Colorado, first in COVID, during COVID, we hit, you know, I got hooked up with a group. I got this email, I think randomly, that said, "Are you a veteran? Do you like music? Would you like to meet Ben Skill?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, and hell yes," you know.
Yeah.
Um, but because it was COVID, we did it all virtually. So I only met Ben Skill virtually, but still, how
Yeah.
cool was that?
Still, that's yes, super cool.
Yeah. But it came from this group called Soldier Songs and Voices, where they do songwriting as therapy for soldiers and first responders, and anybody that's had trauma in their lives.
Yeah.
And well, and actually, it's not even that. Just anybody who wants to learn songwriting to help them deal with stuff, really and truly.
Yeah.
And so I got involved with them pretty heavily, and started a chapter there in Denver, or was trying to start a chapter with a friend of mine there in Denver, and put out a blast on Facebook and said, "Hey, we're starting this group, Harmony Veterans," and H Train got on there and said, "Hey, I have this platform. You should come hang out." And so I did, and I came, and I was a guest the first day.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're pretty good at this. You're comfortable in front of the camera. Why don't you come back next week?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." I wasn't having anything else going on, and next thing I know, I had been on the platform for several months, and yeah, had a blast. Had a blast while I was doing it, and yeah.
So what was the show called when you were on it with H?
Oh, good Lord, what did we call it? I think it was just the morning show.
The morning show.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really neat. So, do you still plug in with one of those, either Operation Song or Songs for Soldiers? Do you plug into those groups anymore and write songs or do anything with those organizations?
On occasion, what pulled me out of Colorado is I'm actually down in Texas now. My mother had a stroke in October of 23, and so I dropped everything in Colorado and moved down here to help them because they lived out in the middle of friggin' nowhere.
Yeah.
So they need a lot of help. My dad is pretty decrepit also, so I've been down here helping them for the last year and a half or so, and she is doing great, by the way. She is completely recovered.
Good to hear.
Well, 95% recovered. But she's doing wonderfully. They're doing great. They've moved into Houston to be closer to my brother now. So I am back to my life, trying to get started again.
Yeah.
So, and that's and when I dropped everything, I dropped everything. I was on the show with Joel. I was, helping the group there in Denver to write songs and trying to expand that. And it just went, all that just got dropped by the wayside. And so now I'm trying to get back into, and kind of feel out where I fit in all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Now, because I have to say also, I've realized that where I am right now, after taking care of my parents for so long and so closely taking care of them, that I have to admit that I am very empathy tapped out right now, and I have a hard time with that on two aspects, because I'm I feel guilty for not giving back like I was before, but also I just can't keep doing it right now. I have to kind of recharge myself.
Yeah. You
A
have to
bit
reset.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Caregivers
and
need a break too sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and and I've also been struggling a little bit with my health lately. Not to be too down, but yeah, I'm having some doing some backsliding with the headaches a bit, and
Oh,
having them more often. So and kind of fitting in with all the, what does that mean for being a musician and trying to, help with nonprofits and all these kinds of things, and just the day to day of living with chronic pain and chronic illness, which
yeah.
I know so many veterans deal with, for so many different reasons. And that's,
Right.
yeah. But anyway,
So are you like performing locally where you are, or are you looking to perform outside your area, close enough that you can commute easily, or what's your goal, or what are you trying to do at currently, I guess, with your music?
yeah, that's kind of part of where I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here, because I actually, when I left dealing with my parents, I bought an RV. I live in a little 25-foot travel trailer now, 20-foot travel trailer actually. Um, and and traveling right now. I'm in Waco, but I'm looking to go everywhere and see everything. And I would like to play some live gigs along the way, but right now I've been showing up at the local open mics wherever I happen to be,
Mhm.
just to kind of scratch that itch. And like I said, I'm trying to work on some recorded music. Um, I think that's probably where I'm going to focus in the near future, is just try to get some more recorded music out and release, because I've got several more songs that have been just dying to be out in the world, that just aren't yet. And so I really need to get that going.
Do you write a lot, would you say?
I do. I write something every day.
Do you?
It may not be great, it may not be interesting, but something goes through my head every day and says, okay, I'm keeping this, or, I'll think about that later or something. I usually text it to myself, or
Yeah.
I have a running Word document, that has just thousands of little snippets and thoughts. But generally, I try to, like I said, write something every day. And then every now and then, which this probably ought to be more often, I go back and look through my snippets and then say, hey, this is really good. And hey, this actually works with this snippet down here. And then I'll say, okay, I'm going to build a song, and start with a little piece and then write around it until I have a whole song. And then sometimes I go, oh, get the whole thing written, and go, oh, actually, most of the time I get the whole thing written and go, yeah, that wasn't very good. Start all over.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you think you have like a really great line and thought, and then you look at it again and you go, maybe not. Maybe that's not exactly what I thought it was going to be when I finished writing it out. So we're actually at the time for another song. But like I said, we
Sure.
heard you sing just fine, but we didn't really hear the guitar. So I'm not sure if there's
There's
any fix for that, but your voice is awesome. So we're happy to hear you just sing a cappella, basically is what it sounds like. But if you can get the guitar in
okay.
there, cool.
I will definitely try to get the guitar in there. Let's see.
What do you want to sing for us?
Okay, there we go. That should work. I hope. Uh, Now let me see if I can turn this horrible air conditioner off, because can you hear the AC?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Well, then I won't worry about it.
All right.
Can you hear the guitar at all?
Play a little bit more. I just hear it kind of just being strummed.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how this goes. This is a non-military song, or it didn't have anything to do with military or anything. This is what is this called? Bottle on the Floor. I guess I'll have to do it. Bloodshot, feel good. Look around. I think it might be morning, or maybe afternoon. Well, out the window, the sun's nearly set. Wasted without some regret. The ashtrays overflowing. My head is awful sore. Today is another, just like the day before. Well, I don't remember how I got home. My key's still in the door. Store's empty. That body on the floor. With his boxes in a corner, leaning crooked stair to remind me you ain't coming back. There's cobwebs in the pantry, nothing more. It's all empty. Somebody on the floor. And the ashtrays overflow with my whole body is so today is another, is like the day before. Well, I don't know how I got home. The keys in the door, my soul is empty. Somebody on the floor. And it.
Thank you. That's a cool song.
That was that's the first song I ever wrote where I said, you know, maybe I can write songs. So that's the oldest song I actually have. Yeah.
So when did you start doing music? Now we're getting feedback.
Yeah. I got my first guitar, I think, when I was 14. No, I was older than that because I always loved to listen to music from the time I was, you know, ever since I can remember. But when I was a freshman in high school, my best friend was in choir, and I was giving him crap one day about, you know, just, you know, being a choir guy. And he was like, look, just cut fifth period and come to the choir room and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I was like, okay, whatever. So anyway, always looking for an excuse to cut class, and I cut class and went in there, and it was him and another little fat guy and like 50 girls. And I was like, I get it. And so I went down and changed my schedule to get into choir from then on. And
You're like, sign me up.
yeah, of course they don't tell you that you know, the thing about girls and guys that are in choir together is the girls treat you very much just like any other girl, and that's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, so it was definitely false advertising. But yeah, so that's how I got into music. It was a lot of fun.
So how did you learn to play the guitar?
Not too long after joining the choir, my dad got me a guitar from a pawn shop. It was an interesting guitar. But so and this was in the 80s, so there wasn't like, you didn't go on YouTube and look at
Right.
lessons. And so there was another guy in high school who was like 2 years older than me, and I went to like 3 lessons at his house, and he showed me the basic chords and how to play, Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan, and kind of said, okay, you know everything you need to know, go on. And then I just kind of experimented and experimented. But then when I got into college, I actually did take a class in guitar, although I didn't finish the class in guitar because I dropped out to join the Army. But
Right.
and I learned so much in that class just in the like 3 weeks that I was there. And that's really kind of all the formal training I've had. And when I started going back and playing, I remembered the basic chords and stuff. And what's really interesting is that, and they talk about how memory works with music, is I still remember some things though that just poured out the first time I picked up the guitar that I had learned when I was, 16 years old. And I was just like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was still in there,
Right.
That was really cool. But yeah, since then, I've, bought, not bought, but, YouTube training, just watching the YouTube. If I can't figure out how to play a riff by ear, I'll get on YouTube and really kind of what my favorite thing to do is like what I did with When Doves Cry is I wanted to learn to play it, and I didn't really have any idea of doing anything different with it at that time. Just I want to learn to play it.
Yeah.
And I looked on there's a site called Ultimate Guitar Tab or something like that, and so they have just basically the verses with a chord above it, and so you can see what chords are in it. And so I like going to something like that doesn't really have much guidance. It just has the chords, and then kind of fill it in the way I hear it and the way I want it to sound. And so that's a lot more fun to me than trying to learn to play what somebody else is doing note for note,
Yeah.
And,
Put your own spin on it.
yeah. And because I'm definitely the only me out there. So,
Right.
God, I hope so. Maybe.
We're getting a little feedback from your computer because I'm hearing me talk. We're getting a little bit of echo.
Okay.
Did we get it? Sounds like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I had my speakers on for some reason.
Oh, no worries. So I would say, what would be your biggest takeaway from the military? Do you think that what you learned there has helped you now? Or do you think that what do you miss about it? Or what do you take away from your military service, basically, I guess?
The things that I missed about it that, caused me to go back in and is, just the people, the camaraderie, of the people that are there. I mean, even when and I know it's all that shared suffering thing, but it's I mean, it's a bond like you just don't get it anywhere else. I mean, even the fire department is not the same kind of bond. I mean, it's a different, very strong bond, but it is different than what you have in the military. And I can't really explain.
Different. I think the tools are different.
Yeah, I think that's true. A little bit. We have cannons, water cannons.
Right? but you don't have M16s or grenades.
No, not generally. If we do, something's really wrong.
Yeah, something went really bad, really, really fast.
Yeah. But it's my takeaway from the military. Yeah, I really miss the guys. But quite frankly, the biggest life lesson that I took from the military is people are not as competent as you think they should be, and especially when they're over you, and that the system will take any competence that did exist and remove it very quickly. So that was my lesson from government service. I mean, because the military was that bad, the fire department was that bad. It's just, And I think that was my first big lesson in the Army, was that, just because somebody has rank doesn't mean that they know, they may not even be able to write their name. It's just kind of, your expectations on life just kind of had to take like a real big shift, or at least mine did,
Yeah.
Because I was just always kind of under the belief that, they wouldn't put somebody in charge unless they knew what they were doing.
Well,
And
one would hope, right? One would hope that
yeah,
was
but
the
you
case.
learn very quickly that's not the case. So,
Right.
yeah.
So your big takeaway from the fire department was what?
Kind of the same thing. Actually, no, just with the fire department, my takeaway was more that the system will strip any competence out of anyone, and that the system is highly broken and nobody cares to fix it because it's just too broken to even know where to start, I think. At least that was the case in Houston. I'd love it if they would look around and see if they could learn something from other folks, but it was very broken and dysfunctional, and but again, the great thing about it is that, in the face of all this dysfunction and lack of appreciation for your function at all in society, and yet you still have people lining up to do the job for peanuts because that's how much people care and want to make a difference for other people. And
Yeah.
so, while I definitely believe that the system may be screwed up, some of the best people you'll ever meet are in that system, and doing the best they can with what they have.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. In another department where I worked, I was in charge of recruiting, and we would have 1,200 or plus people apply to take the test. And then we would have, about 500 and some odd pass the test. And then we would have like 300 and some odd do the run. And then we would have like 150 some odd do the PAT, the physical ability test. People are, like you said, lining up to serve. And that's the way the military is too, from my perspective, is people are lining up to serve for whatever reason they choose. But basically, they're still choosing to serve. There's other options for jobs. Service is still in their blood at some point, and maybe they get out because they realize, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'm not the service type. Maybe this isn't for me. But they learn that quite quickly, I think, in the military. It teaches you real quick if you're made for it or you're not. Because it's kind of one of those things. It's like a pass fail type of thing. Either you're in it and the culture fits you, or it doesn't, and you're like, I think I need to find something different.
Yeah.
I
Oh, I
agree.
will say I have one very important point that I would like to make to any first responders, firemen, anybody that work crazy shifts, is that be very, very aware that sleep deprivation will mask PTSD symptoms extremely well. And that was something that I did not realize until way after the fact, when I
Yeah.
thought I was just sleep deprived and tired, and you know that 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 masked a lot of bad things that can happen to you. So kind of be aware of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're totally right. Because with first responders, police or fire, and military too, you see things that you can't unsee. You just can't unsee them. And you try not to take them in, but at some point in time, it it hits you, and then you have to figure out a way to get past it and deal with it, because you got to keep up with your mental health too, so you can do the job. You can't do the job if you're feeling this way or that way. You've got to be able to handle your own emotions and your own mental health and support yourself. Like you said, you really have to be aware and be looking for those signs and symptoms, and then, get yourself to the right place if you need it. There's no shame in that, because everyone needs someone to lean on now and then. That's just life. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and that's the bit. You hit the nail on the head. The culture really needs to realize that there's no shame in that. And I wish everyone would feel that way, because it really needs to be that way, because we lose too many
Yes.
people, you know, both military and first responders. And
Yeah.
so, and that's kind of why I got back involved, or I got involved before with the songwriting for therapy, because there just has to be something that we can do to bring those numbers down, because they're not just numbers, they're people.
Yeah, they're people. Yeah.
And it's a real issue, and yeah.
Yeah, it's. I just heard, I was at a Legion meeting this weekend, and they were saying that they'd lost. That our group, there was somebody that was on the police force, and he was one of those statistics, and it was really unfortunate. I don't know what was going on with him, or what battles he was trying to traverse, but he didn't obviously treat his mental health like he should, because of whatever reason. Either he didn't understand it, or maybe he thought he was weak for it. I don't know what the reasoning, but like you said, it has to be normalized. It's okay to need help and need somebody now and then, because talking it through and talking it out is very helpful, whether it feels like it initially or not. It is.
Yeah, well, and I think that's another thing that I would like to see, is more discussion of like symptoms, because so many people don't. I mean, I didn't realize that I had PTSD. Like I said, and yeah, part of it was masked by sleep deprivation a lot of the time. But you just, because okay, so I don't remember when I sleep because I have nightmares and I wake up sweaty, and these kinds of things, but people just think that's normal, especially in the fire department. That was just considered, that's just kind of something that how everybody functions. And it's not really an issue until you're, looking to delete yourself.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like the intervention is either at the last minute or not at all. It just seems like there should be more
talk around it, more
more
support.
talk through it, more education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. So we have time for one more song if you want to play one more.
Sure. This is a song that I wrote at a retreat with Soldier Songs and Voices, and I consider it kind of my theme song. I just think it's pretty cool. This is called Wings of Fire. I was destroyed and beaten down. My demons came to drag me down. Fire burned all around. My own screams, your song. And fire burned my soul away. Never back, my skin was flayed. He knew not what I was worth. The fires of hell brought my rebirth. So I explored in a fit of light towards the sun, I burst into flight. Now watch me fly, wings of fire. Watch the flames take me higher. Ashes to ashes, to my surprise. I am the phoenix, watch me rise. Purge my fire, cleanse the sin. Knock me down, I'll fly again. Yeah, now there's no disguising. See me soar, I am the phoenix rising. Now I can't even see what I used to be. I'm flying free from the past, 'cause I'm free, free at last. So watch me fly, wings of fire. Watch the flames take me higher. Ashes to ashes, to my surprise. I am the phoenix. Watch me rise. You watch me fly, wings of fire. Watch the flames lift me higher, ashes to ashes, my surprise. I'm the phoenix, watch me rise. I'm the phoenix, watch me rise.
All right. That was cool. I
Oh,
wish
yeah.
I could hear the guitar too, but I love the words and I love your singing. So I can't wait to hear the whole thing come out. What your new compilation is? It going to be an EP or is it just going to be a couple individual songs, or have you decided?
I'm probably just going to put individual songs as they get finished and then maybe group them all together afterwards. We'll see. Yeah, I'm still getting new. I'm still figuring out this whole how to get music out thing, and but it'll be out soon. And like you mentioned before, When Doves Cry is out on Spotify and Apple Music and all streaming platforms. I think it's got a pretty cool video on it on
It
YouTube.
does. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I plan to keep going and hopefully try to get some work back into the community eventually. You know, it's yeah. There's me.
Your
Thank you.
there's your web address and your YouTube channel. If anybody wants to check it out, that's the information.
And if you go to the website and sign up for my mailing list, you'll get the single for free downloaded, so it won't be streaming and you won't have to ever have somebody take it away from you. So,
Oh, nice. Well, I'm going to need to do that.
all
That's
right.
awesome. So are you looking to go to gigs? You said you're in Waco, so you're only like 100 miles from me right now.
I've gotten hooked up with some guys. Actually, saw you've had several of them on Shannon Book and Sean
Okay.
Russell and some guys in the Fort Worth and Austin area. And I'm gonna let me think back to the question. Yes, I am looking, but I'm mostly we'll be leaving Texas about in the middle of August. So, and I'm not 100% sure where we're going. I got to be honest, tired of being in Texas and
It's
tired
hot.
of the heat.
Yeah.
Very tired of the heat. Tired of the medication situation also. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I
things
miss
are
Colorado.
yeah, it's quite different there. Yes, I agree with you.
Mhm.
So who have you played with that you just were like, besides, I know you talked about Vince Gill, and I would be the same way. I'd be like, cool, I just got to be face to face with Vince Gill, even if it was virtually, it was still cool.
Yes.
Who else have you got to play with or be in front of that you're just like, oh my goodness, like this is a dream come true kind of thing?
It's going to be weird because she's not actually a musician. Her name is Susan Rogers, and I am just stoked to say that she's actually a fan and somewhat of a friend of mine now. I went to a retreat in with the Zach Brown Band property not too long ago, and that's where I met Shannon and Sean and all those people. But she was a speaker there, and who she is she has written a book. Well, let's start at the beginning. She was Prince's principal studio engineer. So she ran all the sound equipment for Prince.
Yeah.
And then she went into producing and produced the Bare Naked Ladies. And then she decided that she has done the production thing as much as she needs to. And she went back as an adult and got a degree in neuropsychology of sound. And so now she teaches at Berkeley about the neuroscience of sound and like how our brains react to music and all. And it is just, she is just hands down the most fascinating person I've ever had the pleasure to meet. And you know, the fact that we've kind of sparked a little friendship just makes me just
Right.
she's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be impressed to meet her as well. I don't blame you. She sounds
And
pretty cool.
honestly, the nicest person you'll ever meet. I mean, just awesome, down to earth, you know.
Yeah.
I think it annoys her actually when I kind of fangirl.
Well, tell her to get used to it.
Very much so.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to say before we get off here? We have like a minute left of our time. And so is there anywhere you're going to be that you want to let people know, or anything that dates to look at, anything like that, or just words of wisdom to impart?
Words of wisdom are, music can change your life. It's as Tom Petty says, it's the only true magic in the world. I mean, I really believe that.
I do too.
It can absolutely change your life. It can heal. It can make everything better. And it can also be a place to just, hide from the world sometimes. And, embrace that. Embrace your peace. Don't let anybody take your peace.
I love that. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much, Jack, for being on tonight, because I'm just been listening to your music and I am a fan as well. So I appreciate you coming on. When you said yes, I was like, no way, he just said yes. I was so excited. So it's great to meet you in person. And so I'll be looking forward to hearing what you're doing and places you're going to be. And so as you drive by South Fort Worth area, just wave.
I sure will. Will. And one more thing, I love what you guys at NVR do. I mean, that's giving veterans a voice. I mean, what more can you do than that? That's awesome.
And we're happy to too. And we're happy to support our veterans, whatever business they're in or whatever artistry they're doing. We're happy to support that. So we're happy to support you. All right. Well, this is Tracy Rounds signing off. So thank you, Jack, and good luck to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.